good morning, everyone.
Morning, Miss.
Morning, ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Miss.
Okay, today I and Miss Anissa will conduct our mathematics class. To start our class today, let's pray together. Enough?
Okay, today we will learn about statistics, especially about how to displaying data.
Okay, I will tell you the purpose of studying today's material. You are expected to be able to display the frequency distribution table for data groups. And you are expected to be able to display a histogram of data groups and solve contextual problem related to frequency distribution table and data group histograms.
In addition, the benefit of studying today's data presentation material is that it make it easier for us to read the group data presented, so that it is easier to understand, analyze, and draw conclusions. Therefore, I hope you are more enthusiastic in studying today's material. Okay, now, to start our lesson in statistics, please listen to Miss Lauren.
Thank you, Miss Anissa. I will share screen the presentation. Okay, can you see the presentation? Okay. Please pay attention to the illustration below. Given the maths test scores of grade 8 students at 15 Junior High School Malang. I want to know, what do you get from the illustration? Anyone?
I'll try to answer, Miss. The illustration tells us about grade of statistic test of grade 8 students at Junior High School 15 of Malang.
Okay, very good. Okay, how much students whose the grades is 41 to 45?
Oh, it's 5 student, Miss.
Okay, 5 students. Is that true?
Miss.
Yes, that is true, Miss.
Okay. So the next question is, how much students whose the grade is 51 to 60?
Ma'am, it's too tricky to see the data one by one.
It's 8, ma'am.
Okay. Matata said there is 8 students whose grades is 51 to 60. Thank you, Matata. And Fanny said that it was too tricky to see and count the data one by one. So, in your opinion, how to display that data in more eye-catching and easy to read form?
I think we can make a table so we can count more quickly, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Widodo. So, Widodo said that we can display that data into the table form. So, how can we do that?
I don't know, Miss.
Oh, Miss. I don't know.
No one know? Okay. Okay. So today we will find how to display that data into table form. And to help you to know how to display that data into table form, you can discuss this problem in the group and fill the worksheet. And next, Miss Anissa will help you.
Thank you, Miss Lauren. So I will read the group and its member. Group 1 consists of Alice, Elisa, and Amalia. Group 2 consists of Widodo, Alka, Matata, and Vira. Now, you can make a new WhatsApp group to discuss this problem. And please add me and Miss Lauren. You have 60 minutes of group discussion, and after that, please rejoin this Google Meet room.
Are you finished? So, the next event is group presentation. Please, Group 1, present the work of displaying data into frequency distribution table.
Okay, Miss. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Introduce us from Group 1. We will present the result of our discussion regarding problem 1. Number 1. Given grades of statistic test of grade 8 student at Junior High School 15 Malang below. In this data, display the data above as frequency distribution table. Okay, after observing the problem above, ask some question, then write them below. Problem 1. Number 1, what is a frequency distribution? Number 2, what are the steps to create a frequency distribution table from the presented group data? Based on your observation, what are the steps to solve the problem above? You can find the answer through books, the internet, and other reliable sources. Discuss with your group in maths. Problem 1. Number 1, a frequency distribution is a list table or diagram that shows the frequency of variation occurrences in a sample. Number 2, steps to create a frequency distribution table are as follows. 1. Determine range. Range equal x maximum minus x minimum. Number 2, determine the number of class. K equal 1 plus 3.3 log n. Number 3, determine the class interval. E equals R defined by K. Number 4, determine the upper and lower class limit of each class. Number 5, define class age. The upper age of the class equal the upper limit of the class plus 0.5 class bottom age equals class bottom limit minus 0.5.
Okay, then let's associate. Solve the following problems. Number 1, given grades of statistics test of grade 8 students of junior high school 15 of Malang below. And this the data. Display the data above as frequency distribution table. Fill in the blanks below based on the activity let's observe. Solution steps. Number 1, determine the range. A is highest value, mean lowest value, equals 92 minus 23, equals 69. Number 2, determine the number of the class. To determine number of the class, we can use Sturge's formula below. K is 1 plus 3.3 log n is total frequency of data. So the number of the class is K is 1 plus 3.3 log n equals 1 plus 3.3 log 60 equals 6.867. Number 3, determine the class interval. I is J per K. I is interval, J is range, K is number of the class. Based on the data, step 1 and step 2, so class interval or E is J per K. So the answer is 10. Number 4, find the class limits, upper and lower. Lower class can be minimum value or not, determine the class limits. First class is 23 until 32. Second class is 33 until 42. Third class is 43 until 52. Fourth class is 53 until 62. Fifth class is 63 until 72. And sixth class is 73 until 82. Seventh class is 83 until 92. Number 5, find the class boundaries, upper and lower. Upper class boundaries equals upper class limit plus 0.5. Lower class boundaries is lower class limit mean 0.5. Determine the class boundaries. First class, upper class boundaries is upper class limits plus 0.5. And the answer is 32.5. Lower class boundaries is lower class limit minus 0.5. And the answer is 22.5. Second class is upper class boundaries is upper class limit plus 0.5. So the answer is 42.5. Lower class boundaries is lower class limit minus 0.5. So the answer is 32.5. And this is, you can see, third class is upper class boundaries 52.5, lower class boundaries 42.5, and fourth class is for upper class boundaries is 62.5, lower class boundaries is 52.5, and for fifth class is upper class boundaries The answer is 72.5. Lower class boundaries is 62.5. And the sixth class is for upper class boundaries is 82.5 and lower class boundaries is 72.5. And the last sixth class is upper class boundaries is the answer is 92.5 and the lower class boundaries is 82.5. And then draw table below and input the value that you have determined before. Now this is the table that we have discussion about. You can see it.
Next, let's conclude. From the information you have obtained, the activities you have done, let's write your conclusion below. From the problem 1 presented, it can be concluded that the steps for creating a frequency distribution tables are as follows. Number 1, determine the highest value and lowest value to determine the range. G equals to highest value mean lowest value. Number 2, determine the number of class K. K equals 1 plus 3.3 log n. Number 3, determine the class interval. I equals G divided K. Number 4, determine the upper class limit and the lower class limit. Number 5, define the upper and lower class boundaries. Upper class boundaries equals upper class limit plus 0.5 and lower class boundaries equals lower class limit mean 0.5. Number 6, draw the table and enter the values that you have set previously. That's the presentation from group 1. Do you have any question? If not, we will end the presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Group 1. Well, if there are no questions, I conclude that the results of the discussion presented by Group 1 are correct and so good. So, a group of data can be presented with a frequency distribution table with 6 steps, as described by Group 1. Now, please Group 2 present the work of displaying data into histogram form.
That means I will share screen my work.
Yes, please, Alka.
Have anyone can see my share screen?
Yes.
Okay. So the number 2, the question is the frequency distribution of data from 80 entrepreneurs regarding at what age they dared to start their business is given below, and then draw the histogram. Okay. According to our discussion group, first, fill in the blanks below based on the activity. Let's observe. Okay. First, draw a horizontal scale and mark the possible values of the variable. Okay, this is the horizontal scale. Then mark the possible values of the variable, and this is the variable. And then second, draw a vertical scale and mark it with either frequency or relative frequency. And then draw a vertical scale, this one, and add the frequency. It starts from 0, then the interval is 5. And then the last, above each possible value, draw a rectangle centered like this at that value. So we draw the rectangle at the center of the interval. So that rectangle from A4 15.5 till 20.5 is centered at 90. The rectangle for 25.5 until 30.5 is centered at 21, and so on. The height of each rectangle is determined by the corresponding frequency or relative frequency. Okay, I think that's all, ma'am.
Thank you, Group 2. Before I conclude, how was the result of Group 2 presentation? Do you have any question, guys?
No,
No,
Miss.
miss. Already understand.
Well, if there are no questions, I will emphasize that the presentation of group data can also be presented using a histogram. There are 3 steps to create a histogram as explained by Group 2.
Thank you, Miss Anissa. Okay, so who want to tell the class about the conclusion of the lesson today?
Okay, we are learning about how to displaying data into frequency distribution, table, and histogram.
Permission to add. As for making a frequency distribution table from the presented group data, there are 6 steps.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So, can anyone mention the steps of building a frequency distribution table?
Number 1, determine the range, determine the number of classes, determine the interval class, determine the upper class limit and the lower class limit, define the upper and lower class boundaries, finally draw the table and enter the values that you have previously.
Okay, that's great. How about making a histogram, guys?
Miss, there are 3 steps in making histogram on data present.
Okay, good. Can anyone mention the steps?
I will answer the question, Miss. The first one, draw a horizontal line using the class interval or class boundary scale. And the second, draw the vertical axis using the frequency scale. The third, above each possible value, draw a rectangle above each possible value. The height of each rectangle is determined by the corresponding frequency.
Okay, very good. So today we have already studied 2 ways of presenting group data by using a frequency distribution table and histogram. And you are mentioned how to displaying that data into frequency distribution table and histogram step by step. Okay, I think it was enough for today. Thank you for your attention and see you next week. Goodbye.